What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition. You guessed it. You can't make this BS up. What's going on with my bullshit crew? I am glad to be back in the building. Yes, I am glad. Woo! Thank you for praying. For real, for real, for real. And I have not forgot about you guys. Your job has been kicking my ass. Not even gonna lie to you. I mean, I even after I do and cook this up, these next couple of episodes I'm about to quick drop for y'all because I miss y'all so much. I gotta go in the lab and start shaving and cutting my hair because at my job you have to look presentable at all times. But nothing ain't been changing, man. Just finally we were able to get my social media back together. I guess with my wife working on it, I'm working on it, she working on it. I looked at my phone, it's finally working my Instagram. So shout out to Instagram back to normal. Yeah, it is back to normal. So now I can post these what's going on with these stories, keep y'all engaged, even talk about my merch. And hopefully now we can try to focus on my Facebook so we can get the Facebook group back to going and we can get back to normal. That's where we at. But besides that, everything is going as lovely as possible. Shout out to my girl Nor Tales. Check her out. She was on a podcast recently. I don't know what podcast it was on. I missed it because, like I said, my Instagram has been down. I was not able to be on there to look at things of that nature like that. But she is got interviewed, did great, talked about how her podcast is all coming together with true crime. So, man, it is a blessing to see some of my folks getting that supported me first is out there. She's a little bit bigger than me, and I wish her the best of luck. I hope she continue to grow. Also, shout out to BTCC Collective. They had a good show in Atlanta. Um, they are now back at podcasting as usual, and they said their next show is possibly going to be in Houston, Texas, and I can't wait to hear about that show as well. I'm going to try to catch one of these shows as soon as me and my wife can get some time off because, once again, you're dealing with life, you're dealing with life. But enough about all that. Y'all didn't come to hear about what I got going on and being all long winded as hell. But I'm going to get to it. We just got to do some more housekeeping stuff. I want to thank each and every one of you that have discovered this podcast and is sharing it with everyone, talking about it. But I need you guys to still get in the comment section of all of your streaming platforms you're using, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Apple, whether it's Amazon Music, Deezer. I need y'all to please comment and talk about the show. Tell me about what you think about it so that way it can keep the algorithm going so they can get it out there more to more people. And I would love for you guys to rate me 5 stars. The highest rating I get, the more I can be able to be pushed out there further. Now, if you don't like an episode I did or you got a situation about it, yeah, you can go and tell me in the description part of the comments how you don't feel about it. But just don't give me a bad rating because, again, it hurts the podcast. Also, too, if you want to donate to the show, whether it's $1, man, $5,000, like some of y'all like to do sometime when you feel what your heart bestow on you. Check in my descriptions below. Donate to the show. It all goes back to the equipment and everything else that is needed to keep the show going. Because maybe one day I could be able to tell my wife, I ain't got to work a 9 to 5. This is the 9 to 5. But with that being stated, I got all that stuff out the way. Let's jump in today's story. What if you have finally found Miss Right? Mr. Right as in looks check. Mr. I know how to treat you lovely. Check. Mr. I know how to have fun. Check. But you decide that you just want something different. But to get something different means you gotta do some elimination, as they would say, of someone out of the equation for you to get what you want when you want it. Yeah, that's pretty messed up, right? Well, this is what we're about to talk about with this lady here. We're gonna talk about Alicia Shane Mills-Lavera and Brett Ray. Let's go. So I'm about to bring up this particular set of folks that I am talking about here. Now, like I said, these set of folks that I'm about, this set of person that I'm about to talk about is pretty much the topic of today's story. So give me one. Let me bring up that. I think I could do better than that. Hold on for a second. I think I am back. And we're about to share this right quick. Here we go. Now, as you see right here on my left of this screen is the woman that we're talking about today in this story, which is, you guessed it, Alicia Shane Mills-Lavera. She is the perpetrator in this story / suspect. Second suspect is Brett Ray, which will be having a picture of him coming up shortly. And the victim is Kelly Lovera. So for us to get to the bottom of what all happened in this story, we're going to have to start with the beginning. And this beginning is about Miss Shane, Mrs. Alicia Shane Mills-Lavera. How she came into play and how she became everybody's favorite darling. So let's go ahead on and jump into that. Alicia Shane Lovera was born on June the 23rd, 1966, to a mother named Sandra, but they did not specify who her father was. Looked it up, couldn't find it. Now, Sandra had Shane when she was very young. So because of her having Shane while she was very young, Shane's father was like, yo, I'm not ready for fatherhood. I'm out of here. So during the time Sandra had this young girl in 1966, she was stuck with trying to figure out how she's going to take care of this child when she's barely an adult herself. But she kept pushing on and pushing on until she met a man that was the town's banker. Now, Sandra met her father named Brett Mills. Now, Brett Mills was this gorgeous, gregarious character. Or as we say, where I'm from, he liked the showboat, okay? He liked to be all that in the bag of chips. When he come in the room, he commanded respect. People loved him. He would love to make people laugh. And when he saw Sandra, he was like, yo, baby, you got a kid? Hey, don't even worry about it. Daddy ain't involved? Shit, I'm daddy now, baby. Let's rock. So all of a sudden, Sandra went from being a working class mom trying to figure out how she was gonna put food on the table every night to all of a sudden she was in the high upper middle class, mingling with people and having a good old time, telling everybody about her wonderful husband, Brett Mills. Brent Mills. Now, Brent Mills again had a good run. Everybody loved how he was handling business. He was the town's favorite banker. But then tragedy struck. That's right. See, right before 1985, year that this young lady, Shayne, was about to graduate, because Shayne was also living a high life, having a father in her life. Her sister Kim, which was a little younger than her, had came along. You know, uh, she's now got in high school. She's real popular. Guys see her like, oh my God, this girl is gorgeous. Girls want to be her. Oh my God. She has some of the finest clothes. Like, she is Miss It. Everybody want to be around this lady, Miss Shane Mills. And Shayne always talked about her dad because they had a close relationship, because Brent taught her everything, taught her how to keep it together, how to be, you know, with the upper class, how to always, let money do the talking and everything else do the walking. But unfortunately, Brent had a secret. See, Brent Mills had a secret. See, Brent Mills was going out here and granting loans at the bank that was fraudulent. That's right. He was doing some shady stuff at the bank. And it got so bad that there was an audit going to happen on this bank. And they were about to find out how fraudulent things get. So when Brent Mills found this out, he was like, yo, I can't handle this. I'm going to go ahead on and see if I can get a little bit closer to God's unchanging hands. So that's what he decided to do. Now, this devastated Kelly, because Kelly was like, how could this be? My father, the man that I looked up to, the gentleman that took me in and told me no matter what, he had my back. Uh, you know, everything as a young little girl would want in a father is gone. He ain't gonna see me get walked down the aisle. He ain't gonna be able to walk me down the aisle. He's not gonna see me do this, that, and the third. What am I supposed to do? So this really, again, affected her to the point that she decided to go ahead on and push through and sign in to Missouri College. So while at Missouri College, Kelly really pushed herself to at Missouri College to try to get her education like she had promised. She's doing her studies, things of that nature. She's out here just trying to cope with the loss of her father. But in 1985, during that time, she meets a gentleman named Kelly J. Lovera. Now, Kelly is about 5 years older than Alicia, but he is also known as Mr. Cool. He's one of the popular guys that a lot of women love to observe. He's a good swimmer, athletic, and he was also extremely smart. This guy was a mathematician. In fact, this guy became so smart that later on he would become a professor, but we'll get to that in a minute. But either way it goes, he was enamored by Kelly when he first met her. He see this gorgeous young girl, little curvy, just all innocent acting, the whole southern accent from Tennessee. He just had to have her. And so from then on, they got it to the point to where they decided to get married. And they did. They got married, and when they got married, which was in a nice, good, wholesome ceremony in around about 1990, that's when she decided, and they decided after getting married, Alicia started getting homesick. She was like, baby, I want to go back to Tennessee. I'm not feeling Missouri. And this man, loving his wife, wants to make his wife feel comfortable at all times. Was like, baby, don't you worry about it. If that's what you want, that's what we do. So they moved right back to Tennessee and her old stomping ground where she's originally from. While there, she decided to go ahead on and get her sister to move into the same apartment complex. Now, at this time, we don't fast forward now. This is 19 now. Okay. They got 5 years in. They got 2 children into the mix. They're back in our hometown at the foot of the Smoky Mountains National Park. Uh, Shayne is working a series of jobs, but Kelly, he was determined to get that master's degree because he wanted to finish that so he could continue to teach at the local college and be hopefully jumpstart his career as a professor. So if you can tell, this is the type of man that every woman dream of, right? He's motivated. He's smart, intelligent. He is trying to do what he has to do to make his young family work. Now they had a small apartment. Now the small apartment they had was barely 985 square feet, but it's okay. You know, Kelly Lovera wasn't even worried about that. He knew that he had all this love to give to his little young family and that his wife would appreciate the love he had to give to his young family. Now, during this time, they were surrounded by other young people at this apartment complex. Okay. And they like to have fun. Because y'all remember, this is back in 1994. There was no cell phone usage. People wasn't having streaming parties. People wasn't having let's go and play video games live together, streaming wise. No, sir. This was a time and era where people had to physically get together and think of things to do, whether it was to play cards, which they did on the weekends, poker night. Let me take your money. Now you think you gonna take my money? Now I'm gonna take your money. And not to mention too, they also had beer pong, those type of drinking games. They would also actually have, I think there was another one in my notes that they had at the time. They would also have barbecues. So you got good eats, good drink, good music, people just jamming away, just enjoying life. How it was in the night. People had to really come up with some stuff to have fun. It wasn't the necessity that they got now where everybody is hanging out at the cookout, but everybody on their phone off and on. Nah, you had to get down and talk to somebody. So Kelly is, like I said, having fun. I mean, Shayne, she is having fun. Now, Kelly, he's enjoying it too, but Kelly is a little bit more reserved. He's like not to act up too much. He knew his cutoff. Now, at the same time, when her sister Kim over into the near the unit, everybody's just having a good old time doing right. Well, things came to an end because around about the morning of November the 6th, 1994, the park rangers found Kelly's Jeep, and it was crashed into a tree. And when the people got to the Jeep, they see Kelly's body just wrecked up. You know what I'm saying? Blood everywhere, battered. They're gasping like, "Oh my God, how could this be?" So they go and they tell Shayne what's going on. Like, "Hey, we just found your husband. You know, talk to us. When the last time you seen him?" She was like all in distress, saying, last time she seen him was when they, had a good time last night. He got a little ill about some things and went on his merry way. So while they're trying to get information from this wife, they started looking more into the scene. From the Tennessee State Patrol and the Tennessee officers that was at this scene too, locally at Sever County, they was like, "Yo, this accident ain't adding up," because this was a cliff that this man ran off of. And when you running off a cliff and you wreck, blood's supposed to go forward, right? It's common law, velocity, laws of physics, things of that nature. Well, the thing about this was the laws of physics was showing that all the blood was all in the back seat. And this man had no blood in the front seat. This did not sound right at all. So they were like, wait a minute now. We need to do an autopsy. So, they do their autopsy, trying to figure this thing out before they go and rule that this is a accident. When they did the autopsy, the doctor administrating the autopsy did it, performed it, got his notations and results, and decided and reported back to the police like, hey guys, this man ain't died for no accident. This man got his ass whooped. What? Yeah. He was bludgeoned to death. And oh, by the way he was bludgeoned to death was nowhere any capability of being awake. Oh, whoa. Okay. This ain't looking good. Sheriff's like, all right, man, this man been beaten to death. We got to go and find out what's really going on. So meanwhile, while that's going on between that time, trying to get some more information about who would want to hurt this man, they done already getting funeral arrangements ready to bury Mr. Kelly Lovera. Now, Kelly Lovera's family is very heartbroken. And you would think that at this present time that they would see their lovely daughter-in-law come over to them and be like, hey, I'm going through it too. We're going to go through this together. I miss my man, the father of my kids. Not necessary. Kelly was in good spirits, cracking jokes, laughing, smiling, while her husband is laid up in the casket, getting acquainted with touching Jesus' hem of his garment. It's kind of crazy to me that happens at a funeral. You would think that she would have a little bit more respect, but it doesn't quite add up. Even her sister is kind of like, really? Now, meanwhile, the police is still trying to investigate this thing and try to figure out how in the world this man, who was a mathematician, very intelligent, thrown into get planted into a vehicle to make it look like a wreck. And oh, by the way, his alcohol level when they did this toxicology report was way less than 0.08, which is the legal limit to be drunk. So he wasn't really that drunk. So this was really starting to aggravate the police because they felt like, hey man, there's some bullshit going on. But don't you worry, because somebody gonna tell somebody what is going on. So the neighbors could not keep their mouth shut. Because the neighbors who partied with said Kelly also decided to say, hey, y'all need to know something about Kelly. Kelly is not the sad, strange, grieving wife that y'all think she is. What do you mean? Oh, well, Kelly got that neighborhood apartment friendly coochie. Huh? What? She has had many lovers. Just because she was partnered with her husband does not mean that she was riding her husband. She like to ride other things of that nature when husband is not available. And one of them was a man named Brett Ray. Now let's talk about Brett Ray. Now, Brett Ray was the same age as Kelly, went to school together and things of that nature. Now, as I could see from the research I got from about Brett Ray, was that Brett was born in September the 13th, 69. So he's a few years younger than Alicia. But still, they was in the same circles and went to the same high school together. Now, they said that Brett whenever he graduated from high school in 1987, he decided to take his talents to the United States Navy. Now, he got through boot camp, did good, got a duty station, but Brett had one problem. Brett was a hothead and decided to tell a chief petty officer what he really felt like at that present time. And the last time I checked, when you are E4 trying to check a E7 or E8, it just ain't gonna go your way. So they decided to send him down to the unemployment line back the way he came from. Now, when he got over back home, he was devastated about his career being short-lived, but he decided to work with his father at the local paper. That's when he met up with, once again, you guessed it, Miss Shane Mills. Now, well, who is now Lovera. Now, he knows that she's married, and she knows that this charming younger man is just got back from the military, but they started sparking up some friendship. She and even started telling him about these parties they had with their neighbors, and even came along to those parties. But he wasn't coming along with those parties just to have fun and get to know her husband. No, he was really coming along them parties so he could keep a close eye on the woman that loved to give him, let's get that clapping sound, those cheeks whenever he can. So the police is shocked at this because they were like, wait a minute, this lady ain't told us nothing about she had a lover. What? You're tripping, right? Nah, this can't be. So they went and started checking out Brett's friend because, again, this is a small town. Everybody know each other. The police know that Brett's family is also a little prominent with this newspaper his father owned. And the Brett friends was like, "Oh yeah, oh you didn't know? Shit, and the whole town know. That's her boo thing, baby. That's her side piece. You know what I'm saying? When she get mad with Mr. Kelly, or Mr. Kelly is too long in that classroom doing all that teaching at the college, she is going to her lover, Mr. Brett, for that extracurricular knowledge. So they was like, so that's what's going on here. So they decided to go ahead on here and start talking to Brett, because he's been bragging to not only his friends about hitting and smashing this woman every chance he get, but about how he got rid of her husband because he was in the way and he had to go. So while talking to Brett, like most people, he denied he know anything. Nah, man, we just friends. We ain't in that type of. We don't even do nothing like that. What the friends were saying that if he got rid of that husband for her, they were supposed to have more sex and more money, so they could do what they got to do. Meanwhile, while this is taking place, you got the wife, Miss Shane Miss Shane Lavera, she is trying to get that insurance money from his college because the insurance money he had was a $30,000 policy. But if he died because it was an accident, it was a $60,000 policy. Now, while the police is hearing about this, even back then, the insurance company always alert police like, hey, I'm hearing that y'all say this is a murder investigation. The wife is trying to get like the money now. Is she still a suspect or is a suspect? Oh yeah, she's a suspect. Oh, okay, don't worry about it. While that is being told into place, the police decide to start digging into the files of their finances. And they find out that not only was Kelly a cheater, Shane, excuse me, not Mr. Kelly, but Mrs. Shane Lavera was a cheater, but she had a spending problem. She liked to buy the nicer things in life because you got to remember she came from a prominent family before she met this man who got it out the mud. Her family was the type of people that had plenty of money, which was her daddy, Mr. Brent Mills, who decided to take himself out of this world to get closer to Jesus. So when the police find this out, they're like, okay, so it's starting to make sense why everybody is saying that this kid is telling everyone that he went and off this woman's husband, because there is some financial gain here, because there was some debt. And let me tell you, $60,000 back in 1994 was an equivalent to about 120K today. So that is a good little chunk of change. So while this is going on and things are being stated and found out, the police decide that there's only one place that this murder could have happened, because it didn't happen in that car. And the way the blood and stuff was in that wreck scene did not make sense. They decided to go to the apartment of where who? You guessed it, Mr. Shayne and Kelly Lovera live. Now, they had their search warrants and stuff, and Mrs. Shane Lovera, who thought because her house smelled like bleach and a little bit of peroxide that police ain't gonna find that. They did. Once they put that thing called luminol all in that joint, oh my God, they lit up like a Christmas tree. They knew right then that the murder happened right there in the bedroom, in the living room where the couch was, because the couch was covered with blood. Now, as you can tell at this point, that things are really coming together and it's not looking good. So they also found that the body was dragged, and that whoever dragged this body was the one that put it into his Jeep and make it look like he actually was driving and hurt himself. And then as they discovered that, they found out that Shayne had another lover. Now, this guy, I could not find out who he was, but this guy said that even she solicited him to take out her husband at the time. It was went to something sort of like this. You know, that pillow talk after you done had your workout session with the person you with. You know, you can have more of these time with me all day, every day. Really? What you think about leaving your husband? Baby, not leaving my husband. Why would I do that when he'll be better off, you know, in the ground somewhere? In the ground somewhere? What you saying? What I'm saying is, if you could help me with that, I could make sure that you are straight for the rest of your life, and you get to have this anytime, anywhere. I decline, baby. I don't like jail, because I heard in the 90s that they like to make sure that Big Bubba gets guys like me a little closer to him, because I'm fit and got buns of steel. I think I stay away from that. But nice gesture though. So when the police find out that it's not the first time this has been brought up, they knew that they was on to something. So the lover also talked about that when she found out he didn't want to do it that way, he was like, well, what about poison? Do you know any poisons? Do you know anybody that know any voodoo spells or black magic? I thought she was dealing with a black dude the way this lover was talking. Maybe, but he was like, yo, I cannot help you. This is getting weird. And he basically said he put it down. He left her alone in a hurry. It was fun, but then it got creepy. So after all this is brought to light, they went on head on and arrested the two lovebirds, Brett, Brett Ray and Shane Lovera, for the murder of her husband, Kelly Lovera. Now, everybody in the in this small town is blown away, because they were like, "Wait a minute, not little Kelly, not little Shane, not the girl that was popular in school and loved everybody and had confidence. Ain't no way she killed her husband. I mean, not the handsome, smart, intelligent mathematician, Mr. Kelly Lovera, and not to mention she killed him over this low life. This guy, Brett Ray, man, stop. This got to be a joke, but it wasn't a joke. It was real. she really had went out here and started the plot to get rid of her husband. So, while they went in front of a jury of a judge, they finally got bail, right? So when they got bail and things of that nature, um, they decided that while out on bail, you know, listen, get your affairs in order, whatever you got to do, because once this trial start, we got to do what we got to do. All right, fine. So while out on bail, the police still hearing them telling everybody, we ain't involved. We're just friends. We're not in no full-blown affair. Well, the police decided that they want to make sure this case was airtight. So they did surveillance on her and Brett. And let me tell you, these police officers, I didn't even know they would sleep like this. This is something new. I didn't even know in 96 they were like this. They would follow them around with the video camera ready to go, right? Get in a spot where they can't see them. And they would go to the top of this mountain, or the Appalachian Mountain, that was like a public trail, but it was a trail that people didn't go on. Like, it's one of them trails where, okay, you can go to the top, but people don't go that high because it's so high and stuff like that. But you have a lot of privacy anytime, anywhere where you up there that high. And they felt like they did have privacy because these jokers was having open sexual relations right outside their vehicle in the air. That's right. They wasn't waiting in no truck, no tinted windows, none of that. They was getting it in the air, and this was every time they meet up. Sometimes 2 or 3 times out the week. And they finished doing what they do, and then they would leave separately. So they felt like that they were doing this on the low because nobody would know what their relationship entails. Sometimes they'll be up there doing their thing and even having pillow talk after standing there naked. But sooner or later, things started coming to a head on Brett's side because Brett was like, all right, I'm really facing some major time. These people probably gonna throw me under the jail cell. I know what I need to do. I need to get the hell out of Dodge. And buddy, that's what he did. Brett went out here, and when his bell bottom was doing a check-in, because back in the 90s, the bell bottom would do a check-in to see if you straight, right? They'll be like, hey man, you good, everything's good, because they got a bond on you. And they don't want to lose no money because that hurt them too. When they say you jump bail. Well, he jumped bail. In fact, Brett jumped bail so high and so far that by the time the police realized he was gone, this joker was in Mexico. So now, back in the 90s, Mexico was a little bit harder to get a fugitive back than what it is now. Because in the U.S., if you was a U.S. fugitive back then in Mexico, they want to make it harder for the U.S. to extradite you. You had to make a lot of promises. You had to make sure you weren't going to execute nobody. And then sometimes if they like you enough, they might just not even let you go back. So it was just one of those toss-ups. Maybe, maybe not. So while this is going on, Kelly decides that Shayne decides that she is going to be a hero for her man. She's going to make sure her man get wired some money. So she wired this man, a couple of $100 to keep him afloat over there while he was in Mexico. But I'm quite sure that by the time he got over was in Mexico and got this money, he decided probably like, man, what am I doing? I'm running out of money. I can't keep asking her to send me money because soon they'll nab her. They'll find out where I'm at, and I'm out. Go ahead on and head back and turn myself in. And that's exactly what he did. Took a flight back to Miami and was caught right then and there. So meanwhile, Shayne is thinking she helped her man to the point that he decided to come back. She thought she was in the clear. No. Since she wanted to give him money while he was on the run and he was on bond like her, they rejected both of their bonds and put their asses back in jail until it was time for trial. You can't make this shit up. So, meanwhile, the trial begins. Let me tell you, the friends of both Shayne and Brett, that they both had admitted to beating the hell out of Kelly to death with a baseball bat, then staging a car crash. Now, on the stand, you had boy toy Mr. Brett like, nah, man, I ain't said nothing like that. Them people lying, bro. What you talking about? I ain't never said I beat Kelly. You know, none of that. But Shayne also, she denied the accusation. She even told the jury that Brett had a case of fatal attraction for her. She was like, yo, he want me. And she slept through the whole thing whenever he was going crazy on her husband. But it seems like all that didn't help out because her denials didn't hold up for the jury, and they convicted her of first-degree murder in March of 1996. But in a twist, both of them decided to plead guilty before getting sentenced, so that way they could be able to be eligible for parole. I didn't know you could do that. I always thought that once the verdict was made, you couldn't make no plea deal like that. But that was something I learned new myself. But they both was given life, but with the possibility of parole in 25 years. Now, I couldn't find a good picture I want to put up about her lover, but I will try to find one to put up for y'all for the Instagram. She did her time, but there was a time when she did an interview with author, and he talked about how she still tries to be manipulative. You know, like Shayne tried to use her woman wiles, her good looks somewhat to entice a man. But it didn't work with this author because he was like, first and foremost, I'm not flattered. Second of all, why? But anyway, after all this went down on that, she did had a chance to get to go home or out of the leave prison on her first parole trial, which was in 2023. Now, after that, there is the other gentleman, Mr. Brett. So far, Brett Ray has not had a string of good luck trying to get out. Every time he applied to get out, they automatically deny him. He is up for parole this year. So maybe as soon as I get an update, I can find out and share with y'all if he got out of prison or not. Oh man, Kelly actually got released in 2023. Let me see when she got released. Because I know she's no longer in jail. I mean, not Kelly, but Shayne. So Alicia Shane Lovera, she got released in 2022. She was released. Now her daughter and her has a relationship. I don't know about her son because they didn't really talk about if her son got a relationship with her or not. I know usually when they do these documentaries, you see all the children if they do have a relationship. I think the son don't because I would kind of imagine that that was his dad, that was his hero, and being raised by someone other than that, yeah. So I think that there was a lot of resentment still that has to still be taken care of. But that's the story of Ms. Alicia Shane Mills-Lavera and Brett Ray. Now, I am about to give y'all my 2 cents of what I think about this case. All right. So first and foremost, I want to go in on Shayne, Alicia Shane Mills-Lavera, right? First and foremost, Shayne knew that when she got with this dude was a professor. He was not like he was working for NASA. He's not gonna make a whole lot of money. I mean, y'all is in a apartment that was already 985 square foot. That should have told you right then this man ain't balling like that. And not to mention too, you the one that told him to go back home to Tennessee where you was in the mountains. You know that economy over there is not booming. Never has it, and it ain't even booming like that now. So that was an idiotic on your part. You should have done was left that man alone. You should have went ahead on and whatever kids you created with that man should be joint custody, and you should have moved on to someone that could have really spoiled you and have you in that position. Second thing that I really got pissed off about was she went to the funeral laughing and cracking jokes like it was another day at the park. Woman, are you crazy? This is the father of your kids. He is dead. Your children is going through a whole lot of emotional distress. You should have been there for her, for them. That's what you should have done. I'm glad that she got the sentence that she got because she deserved it. I wish she would have got life without parole. But you know what? The only silver lining for her is her daughter forgive her. But her daughter's way better than I am because I would have never forgiven her for killing my pop. Nah, bro. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to talk with you. Your time of being my parent ended the day you decide to get another man to pick up a baseball bat and beat my daddy to death. Now, let's go to Brett. Brett was a dumbass. Bruh, you is the biggest dumbass of all time. First and foremost, you know this woman was bad news. The whole town told you. She married and she can't keep her legs closed. I don't know what she did to you to make you feel like you were special, but you wasn't. She had so many lovers that they said they couldn't even count. And not to mention, too, you killed this man for her for what? For you to be able to have to go to Mexico and then she had to wire you money there and wire you money back? Man. You gained nothing in the end. You did all of this and all you got was a prison cell. Nothing at all. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Whew, man, I tell you, this case here was crazy to me. Again, I really do feel for the family of Kelly Lovera, rest in peace. But there's also another tidbit to tell you about this case too that was said, and I'm quite sure it's still the same now. Kelly Lavora, Shane Lovera has also stated that when her lover Brett Ray, gets released from prison if he makes parole, she's gonna marry him. That's right. She's gonna marry the guy that kills her husband. Can't make this shit up. But that's it, man. That's all I got for you. Jump in the comments. Tell me what you think about Shayne Mills-Lavera. You think that she was mistaken? Was misunderstood, or do you think that she was a black widow waiting to strike? And tell me what about you think about Brett. Do you think he's smart or a dumbass? Just tell me what you think. That being said, I'm out.